Hello, this is Olga Jevtich. I'm Miss Virginia Senior America 2003, and this is Fashion Notes. You are going to be seeing one wonderful, talented lady. We always have, as you know, very talented people in Washington area. They always said you don't have to go anywhere to find them. They're all around here. And they're working fascinating thing, you know, by hand, which is a lost art, unfortunately. And there are still some people there working wonderful, wonderful things that you cannot find in your regular stores because they are unique and most of the time one of a kind. But anyway, before I introduce my guest, I just want to say a few things about the spring and spring fashion. As you know, there is a company that's called Pantene. And every year they predict colors of the year. And this year they predicted the color green. Green is the color of the year. It could be really any kind of green, you know, light green, dark green, forest green, Kelly green, all kind of greens. But this is not just in fashion. This is also, you know, in houseware. They make mixers and blenders and in different colors, which was never done before, actually. They had a red and all kind of colors. But this year, the green is very big. And also people should paint. Well, this is suggesting green walls, and also in interior design is very important. The green is the color of the year. But also, I have to point out, the spring is a time, you know, when you're all tired of winter clothing, like heavy sweaters and hats and gloves, and we are looking forward for the beautiful sunny days with the flowery dresses and something flowery, which is very refreshing after, you know, long winter time. So the flowers are very, very important, you know, in clothing. What I see it is like a garden party, and everybody in the garden dresses, you know, with the flowers and beautiful hats. It's so romantic. I like that very much. But anyway, this is just a bit of things that is going to happen in the spring. But now I would like to introduce you my wonderful guest. Her name is Pamela Trotman. And she's here with us today, and she's going to tell us all about, you know, how she started her craft and what she's doing and maybe the future plans. Pam, I would like to invite to thank you very much for coming today, and you are going to show us all these beautiful things. Matter of fact, actually I didn't meet her. I just saw her work at a little beautiful gallery in Occoquan, Virginia, which has different artists, and she was one artist of the year. I get the email that she's artist of the year, and there were pictures of her work. So that was very interesting, that fascinated me. So I got in touch with her, invited her, so she came today to show us what she's doing. But anyway, in Occoquan, it's a cute town. You should go there for a weekend. It's a nice ride to go there. It's really pretty, and also they have a nice restaurant that you can go to, and nice shops and galleries. And Art a la Carte is one of the very nice gallery. They have a different artists, and they do different media. And they change the artist of the month every month actually. And also what they have interesting thing is shows on the street. It's called Craft Shows of Occoquan, I think. And this is one in the spring and one in the fall. So the streets are lined with all kind of art that you can look and buy, of course. And also what they have planned for this April 15 is this is in the gallery, is it? Mm-hmm. In the gallery. Showers to flowers. That means the theme is something that artists should do, you know, like a flowers. So which is interesting thing to do. And, you know, if you have a chance, you should really go and see it and patronize our art colony there. But anyway, Pam, you know, you can see all different things that she's working on, and they require really lots of attention and lots of patience to do it. And I asked her how she can see this, to work with those very fine, work of the fine small beads. And she said she's using some special lights so she can see what she's doing. But anyway, Pam, thank you very much for coming again. And I would like to ask you, how did you start, working? I always like to ask my guests, how did they start to do, are they doing? Most people do make something for themselves, and other people say, oh, where did you buy it? And I said, well, I made it, and it slowly, turned to business. How it happened with you?
Well, pretty much like you said, it did. I used to work for the federal government, and we have to wear an ID badge. So I would make beaded necklaces to put my ID badge on.
I see.
And people would say, oh, where did you get that? And I said, well, I made it. Would you make me one? And so my little cottage industry was started. And then from there, I got more involved with a bead society here in Northern Virginia, and I took some classes. And I started expanding, and I found that I really liked working with bead embroidery, little tiny seed beads, and putting things together. But everything I do is one of a kind, and I get bored a little bit easily, so I make something and then move on to a different one. So I've experimented with polymer clay, I've experimented with bead sculpture, I've done all sorts of different things with beads, jewelry-wise, as well as three-dimensional art forms.
Yeah, she told me that she does not make any advanced drawing to do it. She just starts doing something, and her hands just leads her to the design, which is very interesting. And this is only real artists can do. Nobody else can do it. And she brought some pieces. They're all different. So that means she used different technique with each different piece, and also different beads, and she makes polymer. This is, for example, polymer that and explain what polymer is, that you can actually make like a sculpture from the, kind of very soft surface, and then make the shape anything you want. So does it dry itself, or you have to put in that kiln to dry it?
You actually, polymer clay is something that you pick up at any of the craft stores. A lot of kids like to play with it and make sculptures. Bead people, we like to make beads with it, and a bead is anything with a hole in it. So, that's an easy definition for a bead. And then to to bake it, you put it in
I see. Well, this was my question.
It goes into a toaster oven.
So
I have a dedicated toaster oven at my house that I
just regular toaster oven?
You can use a regular toaster oven. Mine is set as, I have one that's just, you would not want to cook in the toaster oven after baking polymer clay.
Of course.
So I do have a dedicated oven. It is a polymer clay oven, but you can use a regular toaster oven if you want to pick one up at a flea market or a yard sale and try it out. But it's very gratifying, because once it's done, it's very hard.
And how long does it stay in the kiln?
30 minutes at the most.
Oh, that is fast. So, but this is actually what you can see here. This is combined with beads.
Those are coral.
And you buy these beads. And then, she put the beads that she makes. So this is really, you have to think about how to do. And you have a glass bead. So this is a combination of different texture and different beads, so to put together. And also I see the clasp here. So you don't have to be only designer, you have to be a mechanic, how to put all this together. Because this is not easy, and it just looks so professional, how it's done. This is the craft that not everybody can do. You really have to know what you are doing to do something like that. And tell me about this piece. This is totally different from this one, that show you that she is capable of doing different things with different materials, and to create something absolutely beautiful.
These cabochons here are...
those are real beads.
Those are actually fossilized coral. And I did bead embroidery around them.
I see.
And then,
so how do you glue them, or how do you attach them to
well,
the...
and I brought an example here just to explain bead embroidery. You take the focal point,
put it this way so can
and
see.
you glue it to this fabric here. It's called lacy stiff stuff. And then once the glue is dried, you then put the seed beads around in a small stitch. So I put like 2 beads on at a time, and I hand stitch them all the way around. That way the beads are on there tight, they're not loose, they're not going to fall off. And then I build, in the case of this one, I then put the beads up over the top of...
Do you do it one by one?
One by one,
wow.
exactly.
And they're so tiny. I don't know if you can see it. They're so tiny. And to do one by one, it's, you know, do you have a special instrument to put it there? Because, you know, with the,
no,
I don't, you know, with the fingers?
Needle and thread. Needle and thread. I have a beading board, and I lay the beads out, and then I just pick them up with the needle and sew them all
is it a very
together.
fine, must be a very fine needle?
It is. It is. Very fine needle.
Is it flexible?
If the longer ones are flexible, depending upon what type of activity I'm doing, in this case this would be a longer needle because I need the flexibility to get around the corner.
Yeah, this is.
But when I'm doing something in the base form where I'm just going up and down on the fabric, I tend to use a short, stiffer needle just to make sure that I can get into this fabric easily.
But you have here, let me ask you,
Certainly.
Is this like a, this is a glass?
That is glass, yes.
Glass, and you put glass on glass. How do you attach that?
Well, it's called fusing, and you take a piece of glass and then you put other little pieces of glass on top of it, and you put it into a kiln, and this is a much bigger kiln, not a
and you bake it.
And it heats it, and then depending on how long you heat the glass, this was not heated very long. It just gets a little bit hot, so it melts onto the bottom glass plate. If you put it on for longer, it would become smooth on the top.
Oh.
So in this case, I wanted the texture. I wanted the depth of the bird flying with the flower.
So you just figure out by making mistakes, you know, how long you have to do, or, you know, is there any rules?
There's formulas for doing that.
Formula, okay.
People know. It depends upon the type of glass you use, and it also depends upon the size of the piece. So.
Wow, but they're all different, but this is all different technique. Let's move on. Tell us what is this, and it's all different. This is not something that she's doing the same thing all over again in different colors, no.
This is a vintage Russian black lacquer pendant, and what I did is I took the pin back off, and then I attached it again to the lacy stiff stuff. And by the way, we put
so soft, so it will be on the skin, you know, when you wear it, and not to be scratchy.
This is ultra suede on the back, so it's nice and soft.
Yeah.
And it is nice on the skin, and it covers up all of these little threads
on the back.
You don't want to show. And so I was just picking up the colors that were within the cabochon here, the pin, and then I just used that. Very simple, very, very.
But it's so uniform and so beautifully done. Do you really have, you know what you are doing to do something like that? And you chose the color in lavender that is on the pin, so it will be really, it looks like it always been like that.
Yes.
And then you have beaded.
This is just a chain.
This is
nothing
chain.
fancy. Nothing fancy here.
I think this is enough. This is one piece. You don't need here anything because this is a statement piece by itself. So you don't really need anything else, you know, to show. And also, let's move here. What is this piece?
This is a little bit of what I call wire wrapping, where you take a gemstone. In this case, this is a quartz crystal. Some people like to use them for healing powers. Some people just think they're pretty. And I took non-tarnishing wire, and I wrapped it around, and you can see where I coiled the wires so that it gives me free-flowing wires that I could then curl into curlicues and make artistic designs with. So this pendant actually has no front and no back. It's You can wear it
and
anywhere you want.
Yeah, it has a design on both. But how did you secure it? You know, when you finish, how do you secure the wire on the gloss?
Well, the stone itself has.
Do you use any glue?
Edges. No glue whatsoever.
No glue.
You can see where this crystal comes out here on the side a little bit. And so I use the wire up above that to tighten up there. And
so you need the tools to do that, you know.
Just regular tools, yes.
I see. Well, let's see, something totally different. So that's what I say, that she does many different techniques that they apply to different things. And this is totally different. This is a little turquoise and stones and also beads little bag, which is a cute little bag. Did you make the bag, or did you just, you know, have an existing bag and you just decorate it?
If you open it up, you'll see it says Victoria's Secrets inside.
I see.
I picked it up at a secondhand shop. The front of it had been messed up a little bit, so I decided to totally replace the front of it with a beaded panel.
Ah.
So this front of the purse is a larger version of this. And then once it was completely beaded, I then stitched it with beads to the front of the purse. So it's permanently attached.
All the beads are so small, but they look so secure. There is no way that any of the beads will fall down. It looks, you know, just perfectly done. And working with these small beads, it is such a, and here, I don't think you can see it, but there are 3-4 rows of the smallest beads you haven't seen, and they are all in certainly some order. They're not just any bead that they have in different colors. You have a black and turquoise and gold, but the gold one is so tiny. And I don't know how and they're also in perfect places. You cannot even find anything, you know, that is off, what shouldn't be there. And then, you know, the different things. So you did this also just, you know, just playing around and, you know, starting, you know, this way and having all the beads in front of you. And
yeah, I would lay down the large beads on my panel just to see which way I wanted them to go. And of course,
the large
ones
pieces,
that have
I
a
see.
flat edge, I wanted on the side. This was my focal bead because it had a nice Easter egg look to it, and I wanted to make sure I highlighted it with the beaded bezel edge.
I see.
And then I just decided, once I knew where I wanted them, I glued them down. Then I started beading around them. And as you can see, I started like this little bead here and then radiate out from it. And then some of these beads are taller than others, so they have high edges on them to kind of, they're glued down, but the beads help to hold them in as well.
Wow, this is an unbelievable work, because I do appreciate anything that is done by hand, as you know, after all these years. And tell me about this, you know, those are also the tiniest beads I've ever seen.
Well, this is one of my favorite pieces. This is my beaded elephant, and it is the result of the Bead Society I belong to has a contest every year where they give you a bag of beads, and you have to do something with that bag of beads.
I see.
And you have to use all the beads that were in the bag. So there were these two little, they look like tusks to me in the bag. And I said, well, that would be an elephant tusk. And then I saw the pearls in the bag. I said, those
like
would
a
make
head, right,
toes.
yeah.
So I decided, and all these green beads and the purple beads, in other words, anything on here that isn't a gray bead, that ends up being the bag of beads that I received. So I just basically made an elephant and then put all of the other beads into the elephant to decorate it, so that I was using all of the beads. And
you probably got a prize.
Well, we don't have prizes. The prize is that I did a really nice piece that I wear quite often.
I think you should have won, you know, the best prize, best in the show, definitely. But this is not it. Let's move on to the next piece. which is more elaborated and more beautiful. You don't know which piece, but they're all different. As I say, this is not like a collection of just the beads in different colors in the same technique. All these pieces that you see here, they are a different technique in different material. For example, this is, as I said earlier, polymer and beads, and then you have these different beads and stones. And also, you know, the tiniest beads and crystal and things like that. Let's move to this. This is like a flowers. This is perfect for your April in the flowers, showers.
Yes, it is actually. I did this. This is a French wire beaded flower, and I took a class in that, and I really enjoyed it, but I found that it was just so heavy that I couldn't wear it as a pin. And then I made this butterfly, and the wings are so loose and they just flap that it just wouldn't hang as a pin very nicely. So I decided that there's a group of us on Facebook that were doing alphabet letters with beads.
Beads, I see.
And so I created my name in different beads, different color beads, put it in this frame, and then I put these two pieces into the frame because they're pieces that I really like and I do not want to sell, but at the same point in time, I want to show my art off. So I thought, what better way than putting it into a shadow box and being able to say, I made this, I'm very proud of it, and I can keep it forever.
Well, as you can see, she's wearing and her name is beaded also, Pamela. And, you know, you can see this is a really exquisite piece that she has already when she goes, you know, this is my name. But it's not on paper. It's, you know, just like most people have a stick on paper here with their name and they throw away. But this is something, you know, like a treasure that she's going to keep it with her name in beautiful, beautiful beads. It's really outstanding
One
piece.
of the things I like to talk about my jewelry is that I try to make it so that it is very comfortable for people to wear. I use large clasp or I use magnetic
and easy to buckle up. Yeah.
In this case, I actually use a magnet here, so it's not going to poke holes into your clothing. And as you can see, it is a very strong magnet, and it holds very nicely through this thick quilted material. So that's one of my selling features.
So this piece you are going to show in April in the flowers, but this is absolutely with her name. As you can see, her name with every letter is beaded in different colors and different size beads and the butterfly. You know, this is like a springtime to have a beautiful butterfly on. Okay, now this is little guy is. What is call him? He or her?
His name is Scorch.
Oh,
he is a Thai beanie baby. And I had a couple of, I liked dragons at one time. And so I had gotten this dragon, and I said, I want to do a beaded sculpture. So I took, these are what are called bugle beads, which is the long tube beads. And I made him armor from his neck down to his belly. And then I took sequins and I made scales for him. And then as I got to the tail, I didn't want to use the same size thing, so I went to beads and then smaller sequins just to give some little texture and all. But it's
not just on the side, so you know, at the bottom is finished. So if you turn around, the bottom is finished.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to show the biggest piece that she got a prize, because I don't want to be short of time not to show this most beautiful piece that you did that got, you know, such a price on. Please tell us all this very, very beautiful piece that she got.
Let's open it up so that the camera can see it without the glare.
Yes.
This is a beaded collar that I took a class to learn how to make. Again, I really am very fond of these Russian art beads. So it has vintage buttons. And I just started doing beadwork around it and made a nice necklace collar. It does come off. I just keep it in the shadow box to keep it safe and dust-free. I entered it in the Woodlawn Plantation annual needlework exhibit, and it took second place. against all the other jewelry artists there for original beadwork.
Wow, this is a absolutely beautiful piece, like a statement piece. And you should keep this, you know, for your own. I don't know. I'll be very hard, like you know, to get part with this piece.
It's priced high because the right person has to want it. Otherwise, I'm keeping it.
And also, you know, not everybody can, you know, wear it because it's a very, you know, some people don't like, you know, to have like some statement pieces. You know, like if you have this, you don't need anything else. This is, you know, they speak by itself. And you have another thing there in the frame which is interesting.
And just a real quick on this one. This is what I call mixed media. It's a removable pendant.
Oh.
The chain is on the back of the frame so you can wear it. But when you're wearing it, you still have artwork. And that way you can keep it on the wall, you can keep it on your dresser.
I see.
You've got basically 2 items in one here. You've got artwork and you've got jewelry.
This is nice, you know, for Mardi Gras. Like, you know, this, you know, it's coming up, you know, like next week at, in New Orleans. And it is really fun to wear. Well, and you can, you know, just hang on the wall. So you had you made a frame and, you know, put in.
Bought the frame.
Yeah, but this is very, as you can see, you know, variety of techniques she's using that, you know, I'm very impressed with. And I don't know, what you are going to do next? I don't know, what else can you think about? Because I have so many interesting techniques to do different things, not just one, you know.
I do custom work, so if somebody has something they want me to do work on, I'm happy to make something for them. If I see something that I want to buy, I buy it and then I start working on it. I really have no plans. Things just happen as I go along. Yeah,
it is so, you know, like any artist, you know, some artists, you know, are planning, but some artists, you know, whatever comes along and they get idea, you know, maybe you have a dream in the morning, say, oh, I dream about something, let me do it, something like that. So that's wonderful. Well, as you know, you can see our program also on YouTube. If you type Olga Jevtich Fashion Notes, you will see some of our program there to see what your artists from our area is doing, as you know, and they're all absolutely wonderful. And you know, and I would like to thank Pam for coming today and showing us her beautiful, beautiful artwork. And that she's an artist, you know, with many, many, you know, things that she's working with. And I would like really to thank her very much for, you know, coming and showing us all of this. And, you know, what else I can say? You know, I'm very happy to have a new artist every time to show you and to share with you the thing that, you know, our artists from our area are doing, and try to patronize galleries and craft shows, and, you know, to see what people are doing in our area, which is, you know, absolutely fantastic. I'm always very happy to see. This is Olga Jevtich reporting for Fashion Notes, and please tune in next time for another exciting artist from our area. Bye-bye.